All right, it is time for Storm Shield Defense number 10. The last and final Storm Shield defense in the game for Twine Peaks. Until they do an update, which hopefully they'll do here eventually. And I'm just going to do a pre-walkthrough review and guide on how I have everything set up for the final Storm Shield defense. Usually I do the post-review, but I'm not sure how much of all this is going to survive. So I'm going to go ahead and walk you through it. If you go back and look at my original Storm Shield Defense number 6, you notice that I cared a lot about how everything looked. Every amplifier had what looked like some futuristic temple build to it. I really like doing that, but the fact is I have eaten up every single structural piece I can just trying to build a defense. So it may not look as pretty as it did before, but still it's set up to function and seems to be working rather well. Before I get into the amplifiers, I wanted to show you what I'm going to be running with as far as my heroes. I got really lucky and I have one mythic hero, and it just happens to be the one I want, the constructor. And the great thing about him is how far his base sticks out, and that everything that his base covers does damage to Husk walking on it. And if you notice in my builds, I build them basically to slow down the mobs as much as possible. This helps me survive the time events much better, and even on the events that are just kill X number of Husk, I have a much better survival because the more I slow them down, the more I can get around to replacing traps and keeping things under control. For support, went with the trap specific Harper. Gives me 25% increased durability. This is huge later on. Earlier Storm Shield defenses, like, they're 3 minutes long, so your traps are going to last. It's not an issue. I believe the final amplifier on this is 10 minutes long, which means there's going to be a lot of traps that I'm going to have to replace at least 2 or 3 times. And since going into the tunnels a lot of times, well, on 2 of the waves on this, it's impossible to go in the tunnels because it's propane. And if you run into the tunnels, one propane tank will destroy everything. So I have to have those traps lasting as long as possible. And I'm even going to go back and redo my survivors. And right now I'm at level 98, but I'll probably be at level 97 when I run this, because I'm going to replace my legendary survivors with some purple, blue, green, even one gray survivor that has increased durability to them, just to make the traps last longer. And finally, I have Power Base Kyle. The great thing about him is the perk for regeneration. Once again, one of these is going to last for 10 minutes long, so anything that helps me get through this and help support the base frees me up. But we'll run out to the front of this first amplifier. There's going to be 6 waves, and I'll just walk you through on how I built each one. Some of these are a little bit similar to where I've done them before, but there's definitely some critical changes anybody trying this should need to know about. First of all, there's always a few that come around the back door here on the first wave on your home base amplifier. The attack for Twine Peaks, once you get past like 5, is always from the east. Some will try to sneak around here, and just a nice group of wall launchers will take care of them, and floor launchers. Make sure you build a back wall over here. Otherwise, all you're doing is launching them onto the grass on the other side for them to come and get you. But just that build has never failed me. And that's a good example of why I can't build right there. You get lava ball there, and I think there's another one that hits right over here. On previous ones, I had a 3x6 ceiling tile here attached over to this little crop up. But occasionally, now starting at Storm Shield Defense 9, on rare occasions I would have spawns up here which would blow it up and destroy it. Also before, I had tire traps up here. You can put tire traps 3 tiles high above where the lava balls hit, and they will not be affected. The thing I figured out though was when this blew up out here and I hadn't redone all the traps on the tires, is that the build I had could easily take out all the mobs without any problem. So why waste trap parts and materials somewhere I didn't need them? The build on this side is half tunnel and half bunker defense. When I say bunker defense, that means it's mainly them beating on metal. Why am I getting... Oh great, I'm getting graphic error. Alright, I'm going to press though. For the trap tunnel is only 4 tiles long. That's all they have to do is walk across that. But 90% of the mobs will never get across these 4 tiles. The reason for that, first of all, is one of my things I love to build with is these timeout rooms. So basically they walk in, they hit a launcher, they're also getting gassed, and they're slammed back into the timeout room, where they're getting hit by 4 different traps at the same time. They're trying to get out. When they try to get out, they get hit by the launcher and go right back in. Once again, they walk over 1 more tile. If they make it here, they're getting hit by a launcher back here and back into the timeout room. And you'll see on the first wave, hardly any of the mobs can get around this corner. If they do get around this corner, you got 3 tiles launching them up there. That's one thing when you are soloing and building these trap tunnels, you really got to think in 3 dimensions. Don't just build on the ground. If you're squeezed into a small area like this, use some launchers, put them up a level, and once again, I got 3 timeout rooms up there for them to get damaged, and then they drop right back down and get shot right back up. If they manage to get all the way here, the launcher sends them right back and they have to go through it again. One thing I did find out on this, and you'll find this constantly on the tunnels, is I have to build them so I don't get clogs. On some of these waves, they will be 1,000 husks coming through, and if you slow them down too much, they will get a clog where nothing can get through, and then they'll just start beating down walls randomly. They'll be wandering around at different ways to get in, which causes confusion. So when I throw down my slow field, I'll throw it down over here so it only affects these 3 tiles. When I first tried this, I put down my slow field here. This would get so clogged, nothing can get through, and they would just bash down this whole area. And speaking of using the slow field, just mentioning what abilities I brought with me this time. Of course, slow field I always use. It's the best thing out there for soloing. Normally I have the heal, but this time I am going with the flag. The last amplifier is very difficult to get over to. I did have a sky bridge before, but I needed the parts, so I scrapped it. And I'm going to use the flag purely for the fact that I can respawn at the flag point. But, I'll also go into weapons. If you notice, I'm carrying the level 1 weapons you get when you come into the game. I have noticed that the more I shoot, the less chance I have of succeeding. I'm much better off doing maintenance on the tunnel in order to keep everything going. And if I die, I'm not destroying a good weapon. So I put in 2 totally crappy weapons in order so nothing gets damaged bad if an unexpected death happens. I will have a bunch of RPGs just in case anything goes wrong. I don't plan on using that mainly for the first 2 amplifiers, but then we start running into smashers and we'll see if I use them or not. But always have them just in case. But once they get through these 4 tiles, which about, like I said, 90% or so never will, They come up here. Some will split that side, some will split this side. If they come over here, they're hitting a 45 with a launcher and down onto a dynamo and getting hit by all these traps. Since it's only 3 long, I can put wall darts at each end, and anybody who sticks their head up gets hit by both of them. They can come through here, very few do. The reason I don't have a 45 here is because I have it open up top, and that's where I'll have my 5 defenders. In truth, they don't end up doing very much shooting at all, but if anything goes wrong, they're good for backup. If they come over this launcher, they get shoved down into here, which is another wall launcher with a timeout room. And the bad thing about these slants, natural slants, is you can't block them off. So I've had to build a tunnel here where if anything does come over here, and they do occasionally, got traps taking them out. You can't put ceiling traps on these, but this will slow it down enough that usually they don't get through. The other thing I like to do on my tunnels is make them so I can run through, because once again, if you're soloing, you want them in the trap tunnels, and mobs tend to go for where you are standing. If they can detect you, they're going to go wherever you are. So if I spend my time standing over here, the mobs will come in the traps exactly where I want them. If I'm standing off in the distance or something, then suddenly the mobs start going around all my trap tunnels and everything else to try to attack different ways, which is not what I want. But, like I said, moving around is important. This is the top side of this. I used to have a half wall here, but they would bash it down every single time. I don't know why. They can just walk out right here. But no, they got to bash down the half wall and then they drop down. So I just stopped putting it up. And the thing is with this, I can stand over here. I can see how my traps are doing. If any of them get used up, I can drop down and replace. And now heading up top. Oh, one other thing with the launchers hitting the 45s to send them back. The laser face mist monster guys, for some reason they will get stuck halfway, and some of them will pop up here and start walking around. So they basically just teleport straight through the ceiling. That's why I have the launchers up here. The launchers have enough impact usually to kick them right off the edge and send them back around. As I said, I've had it a few times, 2 or 3 things have spawned up here. And whoa, that has 1 left. Not good. But and that's why I have the launchers up here. And then a little escape route back over, back down. All right, and this is where I'll have my defenders. They don't do much shooting, but if anything goes wrong, it's good to have them. The thing is, this is great for soloing. Being able to get up on top, I can sit here. Like if that piece fails, which right now I cannot place anymore, that's why that's red. But if that fails, I can stand up here, I don't have to go down, and I can place the 45 back in there. And also, if I wanted to place it, if the trap gets used up, I can just sit up here and replace the trap. While I won't be shooting, I will be dropping my plasma pulse, and once again you can just right there on the mobs, good to go. If they do get through there, that's where they enter the bunker area, where they come up another slope. They have to pound through the brick right there. There's a 45. Behind that is a wall with a launcher. Behind that is a flat piece with a launcher with a 45 on it, and another wall with a launcher. They've never really gotten that far, so not much of an issue. And that is how I defend my home base. On very rare occasions, they will come around, and that's why I got this right here. It's not much, but it's enough. If 2 or 3 of them come around, slows them down. And if they get past that, then they get hit with this and they're done. And I have pretty much the same thing set up on the other side, where it's just a little area and can take them out. And actually I'm going to take you to, it's going to be this one. I know the pattern. When I originally started doing these, actually all the way up until Twine Peaks number 6, I simply built up around the amplifiers, defended them, and then I ran it one time, and 99% of the time I got it on that run. That has not been the case now, where basically there is not enough materials to do it. So I run it once, I see where it goes, I defend it, then I run it a second time, then I just keep adding on to whatever amplifier they give me. This is going to be the third amplifier they hit. This will be one spawn point, and the other spawn point will be down on the ground there. I'll walk you through this one first. Right here, they're getting hit the second they spawn. And I'm channeling them all right into here. And as they're walking over, they're getting hit by a launcher, and when they drop, they're getting hit by a launcher. And getting sent out here. This is not a spawn point. All of this, you can't build anything on the ground out here. It'll all get blown up except for this one piece. And they come out here and they have to walk through, and they're getting hit by the wall darts. It's going to be propane and smashers. And this one drove me crazy. I had to run this about 6 times before I got it right. Every time they would get in here, they would get clogged, and then the propane guys would just blow up everything. And what I had in here before was 2 timeout areas here. And I came up with the idea of opening it up, but making it a nice little loop where they come in, they get slammed by the wall launchers into this area. If they make the second tile, that launcher puts them over here. Goes up, hits a 45. Slams all of them back into this area, hits that launcher, and then they all go out flying. And what I'm really trying to do with all this is trying to separate the propane guys from the smashers, because I actually want the smashers to go through as fast as possible. So I make it, and that's why there's no metal for them to beat on or anything else. There is not one single piece of metal they have to hit to get to the amplifier. They get down here and they split. Some of them go up here and then they can drop down. And one of the things I had to learn from the build is really I only need this 4 tile pieces area here for them to drop down where I want them. But when I put up walls here, here, and here, they would just bash them down because there is flat ground out on these edges. So I had to put, even though I know they're not going to be walking over here, I had to expand it out the full size of the ground area that it's built on. And since I've done that, they haven't smashed through the walls. They've just dropped down where they're supposed to be. And that meets up with this other tunnel. The others will be coming through here. You can hear the lava balls hitting outside. Just basically build where they're coming through. They get hit by a launcher there, hit by a launcher there. Make it down, get hit by this launcher. If they make it that far, they drop down here. And then they got a big 2-tile drop down. You have to put up walls here, because if not, the propane guy will just stand up here and throw his propane out at you or at the amplifier. So you have to, and also I have defenders out there. If the defenders see them, they will shoot the propane tank and it will blow up. And if you have one propane tank blow up in the tunnel, your tunnel's done and over with. So that's there. I used to have a wall here so they could just go through one place, because everything coming through here should go to the fastest, easiest place out. That's not what happens. If you build a wall, they'll try blowing it up or beating it down. So now I've just opened it up so they have other places they can drop. This is where we're standing before. They'll drop down here, get hit by that launcher, When they get back up and try to walk through, another launcher, another launcher. Basically, I'm just keeping them busy, slowing them down, and hopefully killing everything. The smashers, though, will drop and they'll have almost the vast majority of their health. Another drop point. And another drop point over here for the second tunnel. Now, the second tunnel I went kind of crazy with because I was tired of it getting blown up. This is the spawn point right here. One of the things you can do if you're testing out area is what I do is I put wood floors down the whole area. And then when I run it, I see what wood is left, and that's where I know I can build. So I built this out like this so I could do the wall darts. But the main thing I'm doing, because the propane tanks would get angry after a while and just start blowing up the tunnel. So put a wall launcher, wall launcher, wall launcher, wall launcher, wall launcher, wall launcher, cliff edge. And it sends them out to the ocean. And I am trying to do damage to them and slow them down a little bit. What I'm really trying to do is to get them separated from the smashers so nothing happens to the tunnel. And then I actually have 3 of these. This one gets, you can tell, this one gets used up a lot. They come through here, they hit the second one. And once again, the exact same thing, get all sent all the way back. The reason I'm using wall darts, it's strange on this, but almost, let's see, the dynamos and the wall launchers and floor launchers and stuff like that, they get used up in the attacks. And if you only have one charge left, like the one wall launcher I showed, you have to bash it down and replace it with a new one. For some reason, the wall darts reset. So you can use up these, you know, to the point they only have 2 or 3 charges left. And then when you leave that mission and come back in, they have reset to their full amount. Don't know why. It's just the way Fortnite has it right now. So, and then they come through here. Once again, this is the fastest. There's nothing in between them except for the traps for them to walk through, giving them no reason to set off the propanes and no reason for smashers to be breaking stuff. They get hit back a few times. There's one tunnel left here to do the same thing. I've never had anybody get knocked back more than 2 or 3. And then they drop down to my butt naked amplifier down here. The smashers, like I said, they're going to come down level 140, and there's going to be a lot of them, and you're not going to be able to kill them straight out. Up above, I'm going to have my defenders all set up there. We'll hit that in a bit. And what I want is for my smashers, and I've done this before, but I had areas of lava that I could chase them into to kill them. When you see this, it's going to be pure chaos, because the smashers are going to be coming down, and I'm going to be running around throwing up walls all over the place for them to attack and to keep them busy, while my defenders up on top are shooting them. And the thing is, if I don't keep the walls up and there's no walls for them left to attack, what they will do is walk around up here and go back into the trap tunnels. They'll bash down the walls and then bash down the walls of the trap tunnels. So you basically got to keep them entertained by putting up walls for them to attack. This amplifier can get attacked by 3 different directions, from the north, west, and east. But there's just not enough materials to do it. So I picked one side. I picked the east side. And we shall see how it goes. I mentioned about the defenders. All right. My defenders will be up here on these floating tiles. Well, 3 tiles high, so the propane guys can't take them out. I used to have along the ridge up here tire traps, but I noticed if I didn't leave a big gap between the defenders and the trap tunnels, then the smashers would smash down the trap tunnels to try to get close to the defenders, I guess, or the propane guys would try to throw and hit from up in the trap tunnels to hit the defenders. So I had to leave a huge gap. And these guys will be up here shooting like crazy. I have 2 sniper defenders. They're great. I got 1 assault rifle guy. Great. But then I have 2 pistol guys. They do some damage. And I don't even bother putting down my shotgun guy because he always uses up all his ammo and he destroys his weapon. And I know he's really not doing that much damage from being this far away. Shotgun's got to be close. You probably notice I have this anchored several different places. And that is because when the smashers get clear the area around the amplifier, then they would go trying to take out wherever I had this anchored. So I've put multiple anchor spots at places far away. And basically they're far away enough that if I see a smasher, I got time to put up another leg to keep it going. But that is the amplifier for the 3rd wave. Once again, when you're building, being able to get where you want it to as fast as possible, very important. And I definitely can improve that one there if I had any structure pieces left to use. And now we're going to the amplifier that'll get attacked from the 2nd wave. This wave, the worst thing about it is takers. Takers can now one-hit me. They just run up and actually with the lag, I won't even see them. The only way for me to detect takers in time for me to react is to hear them. And once I hear them in the tunnels, I will be running up here and my defenders will take them out of the sky. Defenders are great for taking down takers. You can see the amplifier barely has anything around it at all because if everything works right, nothing will get up here. This has lobbers in it, and unfortunately me running over here is going to cause those things to get blown up, so I gotta back up. But that's why I got basically a tent around it so that lobbers can't be throwing their stuff up or flingers. And we'll get into the tunnel here. Once again, the main thing is using the natural area where they come up to be the stop point. Basically, my goal is nothing gets past this area. In order to build around the lava ball, which right on cue, I have 1 entrance over here. Hardly anybody uses it, but if I have this here, they don't try bashing through the walls back here. So this just gives them another way to go. And I'll spend a lot of my time standing right here. This allows me to see what's going on, but it also causes all the mobs to come into the tunnel after me. And once again, I got 2 timeout rooms right here. Won't bother explaining all that again. Here I got a deluxe timeout room where you get a launcher to another launcher to another launcher to this timeout room. So, and they just keep getting hit back in there and having to try to work their way out. Once again, a timeout room. This sends them back to the front sends them back to a timeout room here. Once again, here I had tire traps all over the top there. They were just eating up too much materials and didn't seem to be doing enough damage. This is a flat area. And really, the tires, the only good place to put them is on slants because it knocks the mobs back and messes with them. If they try to come around the side here, I have this, and it's really never had too much of an issue. I can tell mobs come over here. This has about half left on it, but it has been used multiple runs of this, and so no big issue there. And that was 2. We already did 3. So let's head over to wave number 4. Alright. And this one, I love it. I wanted to show it to you last time, but it got blown up. Once again, this will be smashers and propane, I believe, coming through here. I have a slant here, so that's why I'm using the tires, just to slow them down some. I used to have this built where it ended on this tile and there's a wall here, but the spawn points have changed a little bit. They just grown. The spawn points seem to grow an area by one tile. The further you go with the Storm Shield defense, now I get a spawn here and I get spawns back here. And so I have two tunnels to deal with it. This first tunnel, you come in, launchers as usual, and also this is a new spawn point. And I used to have this closed right here, but every time there would be a propane guy that spawned here, he would just throw his propane tank at the wall, blow it up, blow up all the propane tanks that had fallen because I killed the husk, and blow up the whole thing. So I had to give them a door to come in, but they're getting hit with the launcher and getting sent back out, hopefully. Get back in here. Launcher, once again, on the floors. I used to use freeze traps, but they don't last long enough. And also it causes clogs in the hallways, which isn't good for the propane and smashers. Got a timeout room here. This one, a deluxe one again. This goes to a launcher, to a launcher, to a launcher, to a launcher. Half of them will stop 2 tiles away. The other half gets sent out here, and they have to go back all the way around again. Kind of my own infinite loop creation, and it seems to work pretty well. And one last launcher there on this part. But if when they turn down here, they got a launcher that sends them back into the other tunnel. And I'll walk you through that. Once again, just 2 timeout rooms. Because of this ridge, this is kind of disconnected, but the same concept: launcher, timeout, launcher, 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 and then back down. This is a second spawn point they'll be coming from. And as I said before, they spawn now here, so they can try to come in through here. And even got this little area where they first come up with push plates. This has 2 lava balls that will fall in this area. That's why I can't continue the metal all the way around. But this leads through here, up into the tunnel. And since hardly anything gets this far, I do put down freeze traps because they won't get used that much. But I really can't do anything, because if I stand within 3 tiles of a husk with a propane tank, he'll throw it at me. So I got to stay way back. And on this, yeah, not much for my amplifier, just the bare basics of what I need to build around it. This can spawn from the south or the east over here, and that's where they come around the big pit. And I didn't have enough materials to cover both, so hopefully they'll come from the south. If not, we'll be redoing it. And once again, we have this. We'll be having flingers. And I don't think this has smashers. This has propane and flingers. Flingers will be coming all the way out and around and over. And I'll have my defenders up here just shooting whatever comes around that way. And also as a last ditch effort. Nothing should make it all the way through to the amplifier. But if the amplifier, if the tunnel to the amplifier gets blown up and they come in, then my defenders can help out. And that is, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. So heading over to 5. All right. This one you've probably seen before. This is the jumpy house where I was running the smashers into the lava pit. I have a floating panel for the defenders, and I'll explain that once I get down there. This will be a smasher wave coming through here. I think with like 1,000 mobs coming through. Once again, I got the floating walls here with the dynamos. Nothing seems to mess with those, so I just build them out of wood. Since this is a ramp, I have the tire traps. And then, actually I'll go back, and I got 3 different tunnels. So they'll try to come through here. I'm just constantly pushing them back, slowing them down. And basically, once again, I'm trying to split them off because the smashers aren't affected by the wall launchers too much. So they will get through much, much faster than all the other mobs. And in this case, they'll drop to a small 2x2 area here with another drop in the corner there. I am doing less of the tires. Before, every drop had tires above it. That seemed to be causing clogging issues, so I think there's only one spot I have that now. I kept putting a wall here, trying to get some to go down this tunnel and some to go through this area to this tunnel. And they just smashed through it right away, so I stopped wasting resources on it. But the tunnel drops down here, as does this one. Meet up at this point with a launcher, and then they do a 2-tile drop down here. This is the 2x2 room I said before, and that does have the tires down here, and this has a floor launcher throwing them back up. I got a launcher here. Everything is walking around to the sides to try to go down to a single drop point. You got wall launchers pushing off here. Either they'll push it back 3 tiles to that floor launcher, or they'll push it to the freeze plate, which has dynamos and a gas trap. But eventually, if everything goes right, everything comes down here. And when they drop, at that point, I will have used up several hundred traps on other amplifiers. So I will be building walls all over this place to try to get all the smashers to charge the walls to go through to the lava. And they really like the walls around the amplifier, and they really like walls that they think is holding up the defender platform. As I showed you before, the defender platform is actually anchored all the way up there. But the smashers don't do that. So I will build a wall right there that connects to that, connects to the defender. So the smashers will come through, charge it, and then they'll go through into the lava. I mentioned it before, on either side of this amplifier, there is geysers. And those geysers are great for getting around. And I'm sure you'll see me using them during the actual attack. And one thing good is that this is number 5, and then we get number 6. This one has never been tested. I do know that it's mainly range things coming. No propane, no smashers, but you got the laser face mist monsters. Not sure about takers. Going to have bees, going to have lobbers. Lots and lots of lobbers. And that is the reason I have the wooden bowl around it. I mentioned before that when I go to a new area, I put down wood floor tiles, and like right there you saw a lava ball hits there and a second lava ball hits here. So I know I can't build on these 7 tiles. There is 2, this spawns on the west side and the south side. I got the west side built up really good. The south side, not as much. But they're going to spawn right here. There's a really good chance these tiles right here will be taken out. I'm hoping this wall won't be. When they spawn, everything comes through here. And I got everything set up. I don't know if they spawn down here. I put in that wood floor in case this fails, just to see if anything did spawn down here or not. But everything is getting hit down a level on so far here, and I can't even put a tile here because of the lava balls. And then I want them to come in here as fast as possible and easy as possible to get up to the ledge to these 3, or actually 4 tiles areas to be launched down into the lava pit or into other structural pieces that have traps to push them into the lava pit. So everything on this is designed not so much to kill directly with damage, but to hit them into the lava pit down below. And there's spawn points down below. I know there's some, I just don't know specifically where, so I don't know if all this is going to get blown up or not. But if they come through here, they get hit by a launcher and launch down into the lava. Ooh, need to reinforce that. Same thing over here. Anything launched down, a few areas. Like here with the launcher, it goes up, hits the 45, but I don't want them to get all the way over to the ground. So I build a backstop that drops them down into the lava. And I just have this going all the way around. There's going to be flingers throwing stuff all over the place. So all over the place I have wall launchers to throw things in lava. Whoops. Oh yeah, I got to go this way. I'm still kind of unfamiliar with this build. Yes, I did build it, but it is the first time running around it. So, and actually, let's go up on top for the amplifier. Not much built directly on the amplifier. Everything is built so they won't try to, the lobbers won't try to attack it. They'll come through the tunnels and get killed. Same thing with the flingers. I'm going to put my defenders up here. That way if the flingers are throwing stuff over the shield, the defenders can take them out. Also, if they attack from the south, they're going to come up here. And the defenders, unfortunately, if they come from the south, they're coming from kind of the southeast. If they're coming from the west, they're actually coming from the northwest. Then you got this big dead area here. And I don't have enough structural pieces to defend it all with traps. So the defenders can shoot anything that comes in this area easily. And since anything that comes in here will probably be what's thrown by flingers, they should be able to take them out with too much issue. And let's go ahead and show you my defense for the south side. It is definitely not as built up. I don't have as good a spot to fling them as I do on the other side. When they come up, once again, floating walls with dynamos. On the slant, I have the tire traps. They get in here. This is going to be 1,200 mobs all coming at me. So I have 3 entrances, kind of slow them down, back them up, slow them down, back them up. This area, they shouldn't travel in this area at all, but this allows me to come in, move around, place traps where I can, and basically just gives me a place I can escape to while trying to do what I need to. When they get up here, in order to, I can't kill them fast enough with traps. So what I am doing is doing a gigantic infinite loop. So they come through here, they're getting sent down or up 45 and down. So they hit this area. They're hitting launchers or floor launchers, once again hitting up, down. So that's 3 tiers. Hit, launched again, and then they go down to this tier. Or hopefully even down there to the old amplifier. When they get here, there's nowhere for them to go. This cliff edge goes all the way around. It drops down one level to another cliff edge to a lava area. So they can't get out there. They can't get out pounding through the tunnel because that has cliff edges also. So they are forced to drop all the way down here, go up here into this tunnel. Now, if I get attacked from the south, the first thing I'm going to do is run over, place my defenders, place my base, and then I'm going to run down here and build a trap tunnel while being attacked. I don't have the structural pieces to do it right now, but they'll all come down through here, and then they'll bash through this wall, I have it blocked off right now because I have the other amplifier there. And if it's not blocked off, the mobs will come through this tunnel to attack the amplifier. So that is my defense on the final amplifier number 6. I know that is a lot. My throat is sore from talking because that is not something I normally do. Oh, the other thing is I have to build 3 more walls here. If I don't build those 3 walls, my defenders will go wandering off. And I want to keep them right here nice and tight. But the good thing about the walls, if it ends up that I need them anywhere, say there's a bunch of mobs coming in from a certain direction, I can just punch that, open it up, and now the defenders can shoot where they need to. So modifying on the run is a big thing. Also, if you're doing this, your main job, if you're doing this for, on this one, I said it was 1,200 mobs. That is actually what's on one of the other waves. On this one, it's a 10-minute run. So I am going to be replacing traps. So I put that launcher there for one reason only, so I can get up front real fast to replace the traps. You'll see me running around like crazy doing that. Since I hardly ever use the flag, there's a really good chance that I'm going to forget to place it a few times. Hopefully not. This is another area where I got the mobs coming in here. When they're coming in, I'm going to be placing all my traps. And that is one thing. Right now it says I have 0 structural pieces to place. But I can still place a trap. It counts against my structural pieces, which means I shouldn't be able to place it. And it sounds like I could go ahead and place all these traps without issue. The thing is, it counts as negative structural pieces. So if I went and placed 20 traps, I would have negative structural pieces. And if anything went wrong on the first couple amplifiers, I could not build a wall. I could not rebuild a floor. So to make sure I have that ability later on, I'm not putting down these traps and getting negative structural pieces counted against me. But that is why I will be frantically building whenever I actually manage to make it all the way over here. I'm also, while I'm going from amplifier to amplifier, going to be dropping healing pads. Never did that before because I always had my heal as a special ability. Hopefully I'll remember to do that also. But this is my insane build. I actually wanted to say at the beginning, I really look forward for other YouTubers like A1 Get This Money, and I think it's Brandon Dash, who have put up some much higher quality videos than mine. They actually have thumbnails. They actually got better microphones. And like right now, I'm running in high res, but when I run the mission, I'll actually run it in medium. So even the visuals won't look as good. I look forward to those guys using what I did here to make better videos to show you how to do this even better than I did. So that is it. And I will be talking to you again once I start this massive chaos. Thanks for watching.